Yo, guys, welcome back to another video. This is a reaction to a channel called That Chapter. I did a reaction to him the other day, but it was different to what his usual videos are about. I'm doing this reaction live, and we had a vote between this and it was what was the other one? This is the stream, by the way. What was the other one? This Journey Through Time, which is also a video that I'm gonna do soon. But this is the live reaction. People voted for. It was close, but it's a bit loud. People are saying. Right, we'll put this down a little bit. But yeah, man, I love this channel. It is one of my favourite channels just personally that I watch. It's just crazy some of the things that people can do. But it's also interesting to learn about it. And I mean, yeah, man, I just think true crime is one of those topics that a lot of people find interesting, even though it's just as messed up as it is. And it's just, yeah, it's just human interest, I guess. But the channel's good. I do like it. So I mean, maybe I'll do some more reactions in the future. We'll see. But let's jump into this one, man. The Chilling Case of Elizabeth Wettlaufer. Let's check it out. Quick shout out to my Instagram, my Twitter, links in the description for those interested in following those. Same for Patreon, links all there for those who care for it. Some of the reactions that I've done today may get blocked, so they will go to my Patreon, I think. But yeah, man, I'm gonna check this out. Someone said let's play Kahoot. That's a good idea. The only issue is there's a bit of delay. He can't do, yeah, I want to do music reactions, but they'll get blocked.
Sure. Which one has the vodka in it?
In your mind, in your stomach, where was that feeling?
In my chest area. After I did it, I got that laughter. It was like a cackling from the pit of hell, if that makes sense.
Hey you, and welcome. My name is Mike, and in this old video right here, we're gonna look at a serial killer. Though not in the way you might expect. Elizabeth Wettlaufer was a Canadian woman, again, who murdered at least 8 people that we know of between 2007 and 2016, and was only—
Oh my days, 8 people! 8 people!
finally caught when she confessed to police. And she had confessed this before multiple times. But either no one took her seriously, or at least not seriously enough to put a stop to what she was doing. Elizabeth was an angel.
Fucking hell, Elizabeth. God bless Elizabeth. Flipping hell, what? Jeez. Speaking of jump scares, she told people that she'd done it and she just got away with it. They just didn't do anything. How does that...
Angel of death type serial killer, in that she worked in nursing homes and murdered the old people there. So we're gonna get knee deep into the story, and you know, whatever your views on like euthanasia are, she was not doing that. She wasn't murdering people who wanted to die. She wasn't doing them a favor, like old people riddled with cancer, coffin dodgers, that kind of thing. She was murdering because she said she heard a voice telling her to kill. A voice, she said, came from the pits of hell. This is the case of Elizabeth Wettlaufer, one of Canada's worst serial killers.
She looks like she ate 8 people. She stored the evidence in her chin. Oh, it's scariest jump scare so far. On the real though, that actually jumped me a little bit.
Elizabeth Wettlaufer, then Elizabeth Parker, was born in 1967 in Woodstock, Ontario.
What's happened here?
She grew up in a firm Baptist household.
Are you getting this as well?
For example,
oh, it's just part of the video editing.
She grew up in a firm Baptist household and was raised by quite strict and controlling parents. Growing up, she was described as being shy and awkward and suffered much bullying in school. However, as she grew up, she became like cunning and cruel, something she was able to mask behind her smile. She realized she was bisexual as a teenager, but it seems no one had an interest in her. She wanted to study journalism in college, but she later developed an interest in like medication, nursing, guidance, that kind of thing. She graduated from London Baptist Bible College with a bachelor's degree in religious education counselling. Her college years weren't any easier than her previous...
Wait, is there a London one in the US that's just named London or what?
Ones. However, her dad, Doug, he was still very controlling of her. For example, after she attended a gay-friendly church with a girlfriend, her dad Doug basically drove up and dragged her home because he wasn't having any of that. She was also at one point sent to one of those Pray the Gay Away camps. She later said
What?
she developed feelings of self-hate.
What is a pray away the... Wait, what? Pray away the... What's this? What the Yo, that's mental. What the I didn't even know that was a thing.
Hatred and doubt around this time. Whoa, so you're saying being sent to a religious camp to try and pray away something that's not wrong with you would result in feelings of self-hatred and you having a negative view of yourself? Whoa, who would have thought that would happen? What are the odds? She then went on to study nursing at Conestoga College. Elizabeth was employed at numerous jobs in Woodstock, including a social services agency for disabled people. She married a truck driver named Donnie Wettlaufer in 1997 and developed a number of problems, including bipolar
This is the most Karen-looking person I've ever seen.
disorder. Also around this time, she had her nursing license restricted after she was caught stealing medication for pain relief. Ativan, specifically.
I mean, I guess this is sort of where it's starting. It's not actually that bad at this point, but this is where they can sort of tell she's going in the wrong direction.
She would have a near-fatal overdose on that medication. I mean, you know what's happening, so close. Elizabeth then began seeking help from other women online, and would actually develop a relationship with one. Donnie, her husband, saying this was sick, divorced her after this came to light. Elizabeth kept a name, met another woman named Sheila Andrews.
Praying the gay away didn't work, because obviously it wouldn't work. That's baffled me. I can't believe that's a thing. Is that Chris Chan? Is that the person who slept with his mom? Oh, that Chris Chan person is a wrongin', man. It actually kind of does look like Chris Chan.
Moved in with her and married. They continued to live together while Elizabeth found employment at a long-term care home called Crescent Care. And this is when the shit begins.
Sorry about that.
That's okay.
There's too many people moving and shaking around here. You can't really keep track of who's doing what.
We did a lot of different things, a lot of one-on-ones with people, like in their own homes. 12-hour shifts, 8-hour shifts, sitting with them.
Okay.
A lot of stuff I did was sitting with palliative patients.
Right. Okay. That would be tough.
It was okay.
Yeah.
Like, because I knew they were going to die.
Yeah.
And it was just an opportunity to give the family a rest.
Yeah, absolutely.
So.
Oh my days.
Sheila would say Elizabeth had temper tantrums, tended to act somewhat childish, and showed no interest in helping Sheila's sick mother, who lived with them. I do that shit all day, I don't need to come home to it. In 2007, while working at Crescent Care, she began her murderous work. She bungled her first 2 attempts by attempting to inject 2 old ladies with an overdose of insulin. They both survived this attack, but they later died, but Elizabeth was never charged with these deaths. Elizabeth's first fatal
Wait, what? She wasn't... For what reason?
insulin. They both survived this attack, but they later died, but Elizabeth was never charged
I guess maybe because they could directly correlate it, or what?
with these deaths. Elizabeth's first fatal victim was James Silcox, an 84-year-old World War II veteran and father of 6 children. She killed him on August 11th, 2007. Elizabeth actually told Sheila at the time what she had done, to which Sheila replied, something along the lines of, well, you need to stop doing that, because if you keep doing it, you'll get caught.
Sheila, what are you on? Sheila, you could have ended it right here. Oh, Sheila, man. Of course, someone called Sheila would do that. Come on, Sheila. If you call Sheila, I'm just playing. I'm just playing. Never met someone called Sheila, I'm just playing. But come on, Sheila, what are you playing at? You could have just ended all of this.
I'm glad Sheila really saw the problem here. Sheila would eventually leave Elizabeth, something which presumably made her quite bitter and would really drive her to commit a lot more killings.
And I was so angry. And it was like a voice said inside me, I'll use you, don't worry about it. And the different times that I have caused people's deaths or caused them discomfort through the insulin, I believe it was the influence of that voice or whatever it was. It wasn't a voice in my head, it was a voice in here. And when I would do it, afterwards I would hear like a laughter in my chest. So, started working for St. Elizabeth, and I was doing well, but it was a lot of pressure. And the way that, that I've
I wish there were subtitles. That's the only thing I wish there was.
helped people to die has been through insulin.
From 2007 to 2014, Elizabeth killed 6 more elderly patients by injecting them with insulin. She also attempted to kill 2 more. She would use insulin to commit her murders because it wasn't tracked the same way other drugs were. That's how, she was able to get away with what she did for so long, until she finally confessed.
I can't believe she had to confess to get caught. She could have done this for as long as she wanted and she just wouldn't have been caught unless she was literally caught in the action of doing it. That's such a scary form.
Real person who listened to what she was saying, but we'll get into that. The insulin in these places, it wasn't counted as other drugs were. She could easily get away with using as much of it as she liked. At night, she was the only registered nurse on site, so she had a lot of free reign. When she was doing this, she told the patients she was giving them vitamins.
I said, the doctor wants you to have a vitamin shot. That's what I usually say.
Vitamin D for death. And this is not like always, a peaceful slip away kind of death. Overdoses of insulin can often lead to many hours of physical distress for the victims. So not necessarily a nice way to go. Do you ever see that episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer with that guy in the hospital who kills people? That's what I'm imagining. Something like that.
Yeah, just kind of, okay, you're the next one to go. Again, there was always that red surging that I identified as God telling me, this is this is how you work for me.
Did you ever try and fight that feeling?
You identified as God telling you to do this. Oh, you're so wrong, man. Come on, man. You're so... Do you reckon she actually had that, or do you reckon she's just a sicko and she just wanted to just ruin as many lives as possible?
Yeah.
I mean, the fact that she had to bring herself in, maybe it sort of shows that deep down she didn't want to do it, but you did. You still done it. Like, I don't understand. Surely if you had the urge of doing it, or the first time you did it, you'd hand yourself in. I still can't get my head around her telling people and them not saying anything.
Later on, as you'll see.
But when you got that feeling in your chest and stomach, would you directly go to get the insulin?
Pretty much. As soon as I had time with the rest of my job.
How many patients would you be caring for on one shift?
32.
You'd be responsible for all 32?
Yeah, 32.
So each nurse would have 32?
Yeah. Nurse, our registered practical nurse, registered practical nurse.
Okay. So that's a busy day.
Mm-hmm.
And I know we talked about it earlier, but again, just to revisit that, do you think that's something that played into this?
I think
The
so.
stresses of the job?
I definitely think
Because you had a lot going on in your life.
Yeah, I definitely think the stress played into it. Maybe
I
made my mind more susceptible to stuff.
Elizabeth also confessed again in 2011 to a teenager who worked at Crescent Care, and nothing happened. In 2014, she confessed to her pastor and his wife, and later that same year, she would also confess to an ex-boyfriend. Again, nothing happened.
She confessed to a pastor, and he did nothing. Wait, what? I mean, other people as well is crazy. To a pastor, I can't say it. Pastor. It sounds like I'm saying pastor. The fact that they wouldn't say anything. What? Yo, maybe they just didn't believe her.
She also
maybe they didn't think she was capable, but I just don't understand why you wouldn't say anything.
confessed to a lawyer that same year.
A lawyer?
You can guess what happened.
Oh my
Jack
God.
shit. The lawyer, like Sheila, actually advised her to keep it quiet. Maybe don't say that, and didn't say anything to
Of
the
course a lawyer would
police.
say that. Of course.
So essentially allowing the killings to continue, which they did.
That's what I was told to do by the lawyer.
What's that?
Take it to my grave and not tell anybody.
So you've confided in a lawyer as well with this?
A long time ago, yeah.
In 2014, she left Crescent Care. Well, left. Crescent Care actually filed a termination report with Ontario's nursing regulator that was so long that they couldn't fit the infractions Elizabeth had done onto the form. She was crass, inappropriate, and made sexual advances at some student nurses.
Oh, she's wrong
But
in every
after the
single way.
Ontario Nurses Association intervened, Elizabeth
I mean, it is the lawyer's job, but is it the lawyer's job to do that when it's actually like when they're actually in the court of law? Surely before that, it's not the lawyer's job, is it? Right? Unless I'm being wrong. I thought that's only their job once they're actually in the court of law, because the lawyer could be against her.
got $2,000 as part of her union settlement and a letter of recommendation. She then began to work part-time at other facilities and at
Getting more
patients'
jobs.
homes,
She's confessed to so many people and she's getting more jobs.
where she injected 3 more people with insulin, killing 1. During these years, she saw the same psychiatrist every month. He prescribed her 2 major drugs, one for obsessive compulsive disorder and depression, and the other was an antipsychotic. Obviously, that wasn't helping her, and on September 16, 2016, Elizabeth entered herself into an inpatient drug rehabilitation program at the Centre for Addiction and Mental Health.
And then I decided, whatever Friday that was, that, I did a lot of looking into how I could get help, because I realized I needed help with whatever this was.
Right.
Because part of me had started to believe that it was the devil, and part of me thought it might be God with a purpose through my life. And I know the doctor asked me those questions, but I didn't answer them because I was so ashamed. But I just,
She's so loud.
I didn't want this to keep going on, so I quit both jobs.
While there, Elizabeth confessed to the staff about her crimes, who in turn informed the College of Nurses of Ontario, and later the
Please say they actually did something. The staff surely did something. It's literally their job.
Toronto Police Service.
It just felt so stupid.
Elizabeth then sent a personal email to said college, resigning from her position and confessing her crimes, and that she was being investigated by police. She then personally called an investigator from the college and had the Centre for Addiction and Mental Health staff fax a 4-page confession. In October of that year, Elizabeth admitted to her crimes and was charged with 8 counts of murder. And in January 2017, 6 more charges were added, 4 counts of attempted murder and 2 counts of aggravated assault.
Well, there were other people that I'd done it to who didn't die
Prior to James?
prior to James.
Okay, and are they documented on here?
He's the first one who died
Right.
back here.
But there's some other
People who didn't die. I honestly felt like God wanted to use me
in your mind, in your stomach.
Yeah.
Where was that feeling?
in my chest area. And
Chest.
after I did it, I got that laughter.
When would you feel that laughter? Would you feel it right after you injected it, or once the person passed away?
Both.
Yeah.
Both. It was like a cackling from the pit of hell, if that makes sense.
Did the cackling continue? Wait a minute.
She knocked it over with my belly, God's sake. Come on, man.
Continue.
Okay, it was in my hand.
When you met the young, was injected with insulin? After that 2-year break?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it did. Same
feeling,
cackling.
same cackling.
Same feeling, same cackling.
Elizabeth said she was tormented by voices in her head, yet at no point did she lose the ability to distinguish right from wrong and, murder from not murder. Elizabeth knew what she was doing, at all times.
Elizabeth Wettlaufer was dressed in a prison-issue dark green sweat top and stood slumped forward as a jail guard positioned her in front of the camera. Her so-called video appearance was signaled live into a Woodstock courtroom where there were many gatherers, including police and at least one of the victims' families. The whole thing lasted less than a minute. In fact, at one point, Wettlaufer asked, "That's it?" Andrea Silcox watched it closely, clutching the Bible her dad carried while fighting in World War II. Police claim the 85-year-old was Wettlaufer's first victim, and just days after being admitted into a Woodstock care facility for seniors.
My father was only in the facility for, in total, of 8 days, and that just didn't seem right to me.
The Silcox family wanted an autopsy, but were told it isn't going to happen.
The coroner said he lived in long-term care, he was 85 years old, why bother?
Personality tests conducted on her concluded she showed significant signs.
I shouldn't say this, but she's got such a punchable face. She's got such a punchable face. I hate everything about this woman. No, I'm not even going to call her a woman. I hate everything about this. What's the most... just the worst way I can refer to her. I hate this. I hate this thing. You see that film? Do you see that thing that we just saw? You see that, I forget what it's just called. The thing with all the different walls where you like... what was it called? She's like one of those monsters, man. She's like one of those monsters in the dream thing. In the, when you like turn around the corner and you see her just like sitting there, ready to pounce. But she's one of those monsters that doesn't scare you, and you just step on its face and just go, fuck off, mate. Monster. You just step on the face and you're just like, fuck off.
Of borderline personality disorder, including an unstable mood, impulsiveness, a fear of being abandoned, unstable relationships, and anger problems. She was also reported as being mentally unstable and having a drug addiction.
You don't say.
And she was diagnosed.
Oh, she is. Ooh. It's time to warm that baby. I can't punch. I don't know what I'm doing.
With antisocial personality disorder.
I no longer know who I am because Elizabeth Wettlaufer consumes my life. I don't understand why she was bound, bent, and determined to kill me.
On top of the 8 patients Wettlaufer did kill, she also tried to kill Bertram and others. Bertram is the only one still alive to talk about it.
I get, oh, she's in jail, don't worry about it, it's over. It's not over. We as the victims are not weak. We need care. And that doesn't mean we don't matter anymore.
During her trial, Elizabeth waived her right to a preliminary hearing and admitted all charges. She was sentenced to 8 consecutive life sentences with no possibility of parole for 25 years. An investigation
She shouldn't even have a possibility of parole. She should just have no possibility for what she's done.
into how this happened
I
was
mean, obviously she's still not going to be let out, I hope, but even the chance, it just shouldn't be there.
launched. But the evidence showed that no one suspected that Elizabeth was intentionally harming those under her care. Not the residents or their families. Not those who worked alongside her. And not those who managed or supervised her. And inspectors also learned that another 180 residents died during her shifts. Now obviously, Elizabeth, she worked in a nursing home. She worked with a lot of old people. Some were gonna croak anyway. But I do think that 8 over, 9 years is an extremely low number.
She did.
Again, I feel terrible for the people that are going to find out in days and weeks to come about what actually happened to their loved ones, right?
I do. I feel horrible. If there was ever anything I could do so that nobody did this again.
Fuck off, you're a little liar. You could have stopped it the first time. If there's anything you could have done, you would have done it. Like, or you could go back in time. No, you wouldn't. No, you wouldn't. You just...
I do.
You wouldn't, man.
Within your career path that isn't listed on these 4 documents, or these 4 pieces of paper, that you'd be responsible for their deaths.
No, absolutely not.
That you'd be responsible for their deaths. 4 pieces of paper. That you'd be responsible for their deaths.
No.
Did you say, did you feel responsible for the deaths? And she said no. I mean, there we go. If you don't feel responsible, then you're not sorry. You're, of course.
Absolutely not.
And if we were to tell you that we've come across some fairly significant or suspicious deaths at other nursing homes.
Where it's in,
Right. What would you say to that?
I say it wasn't me.
So there's no one else involved
No,
that fell victim to your actions.
no.
I do think, and the detectives probably think too, that she killed a lot more people than the 8 she admitted to and all the other attempted murders she had committed. Now, this is a case, as with all serial killers, of a very sick individual who preyed on some of the most vulnerable people in society. She probably saw herself as, putting people out of their misery. She wasn't. She was killing people to take out the anger of the shit she was going through in her own life, not to mention, the fact that she was the crazy person who heard, like, the devil speaking in her ear. She was doing it for gratification. And the scariest thing is that if she hadn't confessed, she may never have been caught and could have continued killing. Now, inspectors, investigators say, changes have been put in place in these systems so this kind of shit doesn't happen again. But as I said, 8 over 9 years seems low to me. Thank you so much for watching.
God damn, this one was brutal. Just a correction, although Ativan can be taken for pain relief, it's more for anxiety, which is what she was taking it for. Okay, the most disturbing part of this case is the number of people she confessed to. She was, yeah, exactly. She was bisexual, but it seemed no one wanted her. Savage. I didn't even notice that. Imagine surviving World War II only to eventually die in the hands of an insidious cow. Honestly, man, you do all this stuff, and that's where it is. Oh, Adam's in the chat. Yo, Adam, what's up, man? I still remember you're like one of the first guys that came to me and supported me when I first started this thing. How are you? What a little surprise. How you doing, man? Just showing Wettlaufer. But yeah, this is the end of this reaction. If you want more of these That Chapter reactions, let me know in the comments. I don't know if this is going to be a main or second channel thing. But yeah, man, I enjoy this. I love this channel anyway, so even if you don't want it, I'll just do them for live reactions in the future. But yeah, until next time, like, subscribe. Peace.